I'm Rick Harp. This is your APTN News Brief for Friday, February 9th. The Senate Committee on Indigenous Peoples heard from Saskatchewan's Chief Coroner Clive Weighill this week. He spoke to a study of organizations yet to release records on children at Indian residential schools. Rachel May reports.
Before 2015, the record-keeping process for those who died in residential schools was entirely on paper. In 2015, Weihill's team gathered boxes of files from across the province to begin the process of accurately cataloging them.
We didn't slow down on it at all. We made sure that we could live up to what our commitment was.
The Coroner Service has partnered with the National Truth and Reconciliation Centre to help identify residential school children who never made it home. A spreadsheet was created with file numbers, ages, gender, place of birth, date of death, and cause of death. Weihill's office completed over 400 searches of the approximately 600 names provided by the Truth and Reconciliation Centre, and they're ready for more.
But we do have enough information that we could certainly match names up should we receive any further names.
Weighill says the coroner's office only investigates unnatural deaths like murder, suicide, fire, drowning, and overdoses. If people want to know more about residential school students who died of natural causes, Saskatchewan's Vital Statistics has that information. Rachel May, APTN National News, Saskatoon.
The Yukon government has responded to a judicial review launched by an Indigenous man claiming he was illegally segregated at the Whitehorse Correctional Centre. Norman Kendi filed the application in December, alleging wrongful placement into a segregation unit following an altercation with a corrections officer. But the territorial response disputes Kendi's allegations, claiming in part that the facility does not have a segregation unit or that where Kendi was placed could be legally defined as segregation. Still incarcerated as one of two people charged with last year's killing of Aaron Smarch in Whitehorse, Kendi's hearing for application has yet to be set.
Hi, I'm Dennis Ward, host of Face to Face. Coming up on our next episode, I'll be sitting down with award-winning playwright, author, and broadcaster Drew Hayden Taylor. We'll be discussing his new novel, Cold, the upcoming season of Going Native, and much more. Tune in Tuesday on APTN or listen to the Face to Face podcast. Download and subscribe on your favorite player.
Turning to emissions from the Alberta oil sands, new data have revealed they're many times higher than once reported. A product of research by Yale University and the Government of Canada, the results come as no surprise to Athabasca Chipewyan Chief Alan Adam. Chris Stewart has more.
The study began in 2018 with researchers from Yale and Environment Canada measuring carbon gases emitted by 17 facilities in the Athabasca oil sands by flying over them. Industry records emissions at ground level. What they found was emissions were 19 to 64 times higher than what the facility owners were reporting. John Liggio is a scientist with the federal government. He co-authored the study. He says he believes there are more tools that industry can use to get more accurate readings.
It's probably not feasible to be flying a plane, every month for a whole year with all of the very expensive and complex instrumentation that we were using on the aircraft. But we did have some novel instruments that are relatively simple that showed us that there was a discrepancy between the total that we measure and the total that is reported.
He says the emissions are not the greenhouse gases that lead to climate change, but they can lead to health issues downwind of the sites.
So the issue with having these high emissions is that ultimately all of these gas phase compounds end up forming particulate matter downwind, sometimes near, sometimes far, and along the way. And PM, we know, is a health issue around the world. It's similar. The PM is similar to PM that you would expect to be exposed to, for example, from forest fire smoke.
APTN spoke to Chief Alan Adam of the Athabasca Chipewyan First Nation in northern Alberta. He says the report is no surprise to him.
We've been doing our own community-based monitoring program since probably way back in 2010, 2009. We do water sampling and everything and stuff like that. And, we've been finding samples of abnormality. I guess it's not right in the ecosystem and stuff like that. And this just confirms the fact that what they found, we've been finding all along.
Adam says industry and government need to talk to Indigenous peoples to find a solution.
The report is astonishing when you look at it. Does it really have to be that way? Could it have been done differently? I think, in our view, it could have done a lot better if we had just did what we told industry all along, what needed to get done, because the First Nations were right all along.
In a statement, the Alberta Ministry of Environment said that in the past decade, per barrel emissions have dropped 21%, and another 23% drop is expected in the next decade. It goes on to say, "We stand by our province's regulatory and monitoring approach while recognizing that we need to keep learning and evolving." It does not mention any upcoming meetings to discuss the report's findings. Chris Stewart, APTN National News, Edmonton.
And that's your APTN News Brief for Friday, February 9th. I'm Rick Harp.